You lose.
We are filthy stinking rich. My shop has been a success. Now, technically, it's mine and Slack's shop, kind of, because it's our goods, but Slack didn't mention wanting anything from it. But check this out. 4 stacks of copper blocks. That was just a side deal I did with Liara for 18 tridents, which is ridiculous. In here, we've sold some Nautilus shells. Amazing. We didn't sell any fish. We didn't sell any andesite or diorite. And we didn't sell any deep slate. But we did sell a whole bunch of bones, which is great news. And we sold some ink sacks as well, which is also good news. Which means the total of selling in just one day is many blocks of copper. This is excellent news. It has been a wild success, and we get a shulker box back as well. This is wonderful. Anyway, I've been busy. I've been busy doing even more mining down here, which means I have even more tasty things to put into our furnace array. And I've been being even more busy over at the drowned farm that we finished off in the last episode. And as a result of that, well, you know, there's all of those people out there that say, it's a complete waste of time doing an AFK drowned farm for copper farming. You won't get any copper. I've been there for about 4 hours, which is quite a long time, but considering I was AFK, that meant I could do other things like editing videos and all that sort of stuff. I don't think the fact that we now have over 4 stacks of copper ingots is a bad thing. This is very good. In fact, this is excellent and exactly what this farm was intended for. We've also got more Nautilus shells, which makes us copper for selling them, and we've got a few more drowned heads, which I'm sure we could sell at some point as well, if people particularly wanted them. Which means it's very successful. So if you, like me, like having copper and have time on your hands to build a drowned farm and go AFK at it, then I suggest you do so, because it is a good way of getting a reasonable amount of copper. And if you're as lucky as I am and you build it next to an amethyst cluster or one of these things, then you might find that you can also harvest a ridiculous number of amethyst crystals after you've finished being AFK. And then when you add all of those shards to the ones you had from before you went AFK, you really do begin to feel quite rich. Quite rich. In fact, so rich, you can't actually fit them all in your chest, which is a very nice position to be in. So the overall aim of today's video is actually to build a bridge across the lake to the Nether portal, and I do have a design in mind, and I've also claimed the Nether portal as an area that I want to build. I have a design and a plan for it. Well, I don't have a design. I've got an idea for a building that I want to build over this thing, and as you can see, I put down these signs quite a while ago explaining to people that I want to build this. I also put one on this bridge here, which I thought had disappeared then, but it hasn't. You can see it says Foxy planning to build a bridge here to the portal. And the reason I put those down is because other people are very efficient at this game, and you can see other people have already started to put in infrastructure around here, and I didn't want them taking over the bridge before I could get to it. So that's the plan, and that's one of the reasons why I've been doing so much mining to gather materials such as deep slate and andesite, so that we can get building. But there is one thing we're going to need to do before we do that, and that's actually to move the portal. See, I would really like it if this portal is in the middle of the lake and not quite so close to, Zloy's bank and things like that, because the build I have planned for the top is not particularly small. However, before we move the portal, it might be a sensible idea to actually go through it, because I'd really like to go mining for ancient debris again, because I don't have any for my armor, and I want to feel stronger and more powerful. Why wouldn't you? If you're rich, like that goat, you would want to feel as strong as powerful as possible. Now, someone did very kindly remind me recently in a comment that I was last time mining for ancient debris down at the bottom of the Nether, which is not the most ideal place for it. Apparently, the most ideal place for it, which I completely forgotten, is actually at Y15, and as you can see, someone else has been digging around this level here. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing in the other... gravel! Yeah, I'm going to go this way. Jeez. And only a few blocks away from there, I've already found, well, 2, which is wonderful news. So yeah, this definitely looks like the level to be at. However, I have now... Oh no, I thought this was someone else's tunnel. This is fine. Right, I'm going to carry on. I'll be back with you guys in just a minute. Okay, so I've managed to dig out roughly 1,000 blocks in this direction. My pickaxe is not doing too well. My armor's pretty good, and I've got a reasonable amount of quartz and blackstone in my inventory, and 14 pieces of ancient debris so far, which is not bad. So, there's 2 things I could do. I could run back pointing upwards like this and hopefully get some more, or I could go into the wall a little bit and go back like that, which is probably going to be better because that is still at Y15. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to run back all the way back to where we came from. And here we are back at the start with not much more to show for it than we had originally, although I have got quite a bit of nether quartz now, so I am just going to take a quick walk down each of those tunnels we've just made, make sure I haven't missed anything, like this quartz here, and obviously any more ancient debris, and then I've got another idea. Okay, so I know that bed blasting is a thing to find ancient debris, and that can be semi-successful. If you can cope with all the fire, that is. And another thing that also works quite well for ancient debris mining is using TNT. Again, relatively successful, less flames, but not as big a blast radius. And finally, the third most effective way of uncovering a large area to find ancient debris in the nether would be to use end crystal mining, which again, no fire but many lava. And if you look around, not a great deal of ancient debris being uncovered by any of those things that we just did. So what if I had another idea? So time for a little bit of Minecraft science. We know that Minecraft the game will distribute features in the world when it creates biomes by chunks, basically. It will pick a chunk and decide what features it's going to load into them, such as quartz will be distributed per chunk, so will ancient debris, diamond ore, and those things. So we know that there's a relatively even distribution. Now we don't actually have access to the Bedrock Edition files to determine exactly where ancient debris is going to be, but it stands to reason if you can look at 2 chunks at once, then you stand to gather twice as much ancient debris as if you were just looking at 1 chunk. So I'm going to bring back my good old trusty armor stand friend, and I'm going to find where the chunk border is, which is just here, and if I mine along here, I should then be able to see 2 chunks worth of ancient debris at once and double the chances of getting some. So let's check it out. One more thing to add to all of this before I go too far is that we proved beyond a doubt last season with our ancient debris mining competitions on Truly Bedrock that it doesn't matter which method you actually choose, they're all the same in terms of how many ancient debris you will find per hour. Some of us did TNT blasting, some of us did end crystal blasting, and some of us did bed blasting, and some of us just went mining, and we all got on average around about exactly the same amount per hour as each other. So I can run along here with my pickaxe, mining out absolutely tons of this stuff very quickly and stand as much chance of finding them as anyone with a bed or end crystals or TNT. And as you can see here, I've already found in a very short distance 4 pieces of ancient debris. So it's working. And to just drone on a little bit further, the advantage for me of mining as opposed to using any of the other methods is the fact that I don't have to keep switching out my inventory, starting and stopping, dodging fire, putting out lava, pillaring up. I can just run along with my pickaxe and just basically crack on, and I don't have to think about it too much. I don't have to worry about it. I can listen to music. I can watch other people's YouTube videos while I'm doing it. I really don't have to concentrate too much until I find lava. But, as you'll see here, I have very good armor, and it takes me a long time to take damage in this lava. So basically, mining for me is the best method. It might be different for you. We all have different playstyles, so there really is no right and wrong with all of this. But FoxyNoTail, no, I've explained it all, mate. I've explained it all. No, but no, I've explained it all. Okay. Coming all of this way again, but this time digging a 2-wide tunnel over a chunk border has resulted in me getting a very similar number of ancient debris. However, it did take a million years to do, and also my pickaxe is just about broken because I decided to use Silk Touch instead of Fortune this time, which means it's not getting repaired from the many quartz that I've collected. So I've got another idea. What if this time, instead of running back as a 2-wide hole on either side of the chunk, we just dig a 1-wide hole, which will still show us 2 chunks, because we can still see into the blocks of that chunk and this chunk at the same time, will we get the same amount of ancient debris? Let's find out. Because with this method, I can just run a whole lot faster. I can break blocks a lot quicker. I don't have to keep starting and stopping. And if I use my fortune pickaxe again, my pickaxe will get mended when I pick up all of these things, which is, yeah, lots better. And now back to the beginning, you can see I got exactly the same amount of ancient debris again that time, but I got a ridiculous amount more quartz, which is crazy. Which means altogether through those few little holes that I dug, I managed to get a load of junk. Many quartz and 39 ancient debris altogether, which I'm going to put in there, which is great. That should be enough to get us going on our tools and armor as well. And there is one more thing that I now need to do, which I didn't need to do a few minutes ago, but now I very much need to do. So the thing I need to do is actually to gather up a bunch of moss carpet, which I'm hoping I can make from the moss block. I can, because I may have had a little bit of an accident in the nether. You see, for reasons I don't actually understand, somebody has gone to the painstaking effort of laying moss carpet throughout the nether, all the way down to the area that we've been working in today. And you might notice there is a room here with a little entrance here, and if we go into one of these bits, we will find this. Which again, I have no idea what it is, but this used to be fully carpeted until I came blundering along doing my mining above it, found a lava pocket, which then poured lava over the whole thing. So I'm back to very quickly, before anyone notices, come and place a load more moss carpet down, because yeah, it's kind of a little bit, possibly a lot my fault that it all got broken. Oh, jeez. All fixed. No one will ever know anything. Let's get out of here. I have no idea what that is. I don't know if I want to know, but I'm leaving. Well, I feel a little bit of a moron right now because the next few clips that I recorded didn't pick up my voice on my microphone for some reason, so I'm talking over these. We got our ancient debris and smelted them in a furnace, and then I combined that with gold in order to make the netherite ingots, which I then used a smithing table to actually combine those with some of my tools, but I chose not to use it on my armor just yet because my armor's not actually that great and I plan on getting some better armor in the future. I then went to the nether portal in the middle of the lake and destroyed it so that I could move it back to a more central location within the lake, and then I took time to destroy all of the little netherrack island that it had been built upon, so we got a nice clear space to start building our bridge. And then I did a time lapse. So here we go, and as I'm sure you could tell, that was all recorded in creative mode, and the reason for that is that I didn't want to waste a lot of time trying to build this from scratch in survival when I didn't actually have a finalized design. And believe it or not, this is not the finalized design, but it's going to be something close. I knew what block palette I wanted to use, I knew what type of structure I wanted to build, but I didn't really know how it was all going to come together, and trying to do something on this sort of scale in survival without planning and creative first would have just taken forever. So yeah, I thought I would come and do a little time-lapse in creative so we could figure out exactly what we wanted to do, including the bridge design as well, which I really like how we've ended up with. We're basically using a whole bunch of the new dripstone blocks as well as some tough blocks and basalt blocks in the floor to make it look like a bit of a worn cobbly path. It's also got the oxidized copper blocks, which really do help it fit with the aquatic theme being over water, and we've got a few blaze rods on there for lighting, a few iron bars for fences, and some more dripstone walls there, just bringing the whole thing together. And I think that bit looks absolutely great. Going on to the main build, we have a circular platform which has nothing underneath it for now, but it will in the future. And then we've got this thing around the bottom, which is using a gradient of black stone through deep slate and basalt to stone, and that's actually a pentagon shape, which is like the TB logo that we've got, which I used a similar shape like that in Truly Bedrock Season 1 for the Town Hall. On top of that, we've got a triangle, and then another triangle which is a bit bigger with the TB logo on it as well, many end rods, and if we go inside you'll see there is a beacon that shines all the way from the bottom through the Nether portal, which I've now made like a 3D portal that will go all the way around it on all sides and right through the top, all the way out of the top of this thing. So obviously I've done absolutely no decoration on the inside of this thing yet. It's all purely on the outside, and like I say, this might not be the final design we end up with on Truly Bedrock. We'll have to see, but now at least I know there are a few more blocks I need to gather. Basalt being the main one, because I've got a little bit of smooth basalt from the amethyst geodes I found, but I've got no actual proper basalt. So there are a few different ways we could go about getting basalt. One easy way would be to make a basalt generator in the Nether, because they create absolutely tons of the stuff in no time at all, but that also means doing a lot of building work and stuff like that. So I thought it might be a better idea to just come into the Nether and see if I can find a basalt delta. Well, and I've already found basalt. Now it's not a basalt delta, but it's basalt, and I'll take it. There goes nothing. I can't see much. The world isn't loading in very well, but we are going to find ourselves magma cube heaven. And I found one quickly. I didn't realize we were that close to one. And this thing is huge. If only I could dig out the ceiling. Look at all of that. Maybe we could get into the ceiling. Jeez, gas. Ah! War. Spicy. Many lavas around here. If we can get into the ceiling and just dig a couple of layers above that, that looked like there was many basalts. Oh, there we go. Look, yes, this is perfect. Ideal. What a good place to come and get basalt. We're not going to get got by anything other than things that spawn behind us, and then we'll be trapped in a... Oh, jeez, this is a bad idea. Well, actually, it turns out it wasn't too much of a bad idea at all. I've managed to get myself well over 10 stacks of basalt in a relatively quick time, and I didn't die. I did get shot at a couple of times as I broke through the wall by ghasts, because they sneak around down there, look, but, yeah, I think we're good to go. Well, there we go. I guess we're ready to go on this project. I have gathered up everything I believe I need to start the bridge. I'm not going to worry too much about the actual building and the circle in the middle just yet. I've chopped down these trees. I'm just waiting for the leaves to despawn, and I've got rid of the original bridge that comes out of there. So all I need to do, I guess, is start placing blocks. So first of all, I'm laying the foundation. As you can see, I've put in a basic platform underneath, and now all I'm doing is going along with all of the different cobbled looking variants that I've got. Now, what I would normally do is make these out of slabs to save resources, and also so we could do underlighting as well to stop mobs spawning. But unfortunately, the only block that I'm working with for this path that actually comes in a slab variant is the cobbled deep slate. Deep slate, basalt, smooth basalt, and tough. None of those actually can be turned into slabs, which makes life a little bit tricky when you want to do slabbing with them. Now, the good thing about deep slate that's not cobbled deep slate is it is directional, so depending on which way you place it will depend on what pattern you get on the top and which direction it's facing, which really does help when you're trying to add a lot of texture and variation to your road or your path to make it look like it has been worn and stepped on and worn by the environment. So yeah, I think the deep slate on its own is really varied, even though it is just a block that can't be varied. To give you an example, if I put cobbled deep slate into a stone cutter, I can create all of these different types of blocks. Whereas if I just put normal deep slate in, I can't create any. And there we go. That's the entire road surface done. Now, I haven't actually put any tough blocks in it this time, but I really don't think it needs it. I think it looks absolutely great. Although it is nighttime, so it's quite hard to see. Let's have a very quick sleep. check it out again in the daytime. And yeah, I don't think that needs any tough blocks at all. Next, all I'm doing is adding these andesite blocks along the side every 3 blocks, and these weren't actually included in the original design, but the block here is going to be completely hidden. Before I used copper blocks, it seems like a little bit of a waste of copper blocks if it's not going to be shown, so I'm just going to use these because I've got millions of andesite and I don't mind wasting them. So now that we've got all of those in place, that Enderman's not very smart, is it? So now that we've got all of those in place, we can start adding the copper bits every 3rd block, and we're going to do this in a way that makes it look quite interesting. So we're going to put some stairs there, upside down, a slab here, and then we're going to turn around and put some upside down stairs there like that. We're going to get rid of this half slab in the middle, put another slab there, and then basically do the same on this side. And that way you've got this sort of nice looking sort of divot or rivet, or I don't know what to call that underneath, but it makes it look a little bit more interesting anyway. We could even make that into a full block and have a little bit more of a 3D shape there, which I quite like. Or we could actually use a full copper block there, which looks quite good as well. And now I'm suffocating and I can't get out. I didn't think this through. And there we go, with all of those in place, that is the entire underside of the bridge complete. So now the sides. And the sides are really easy, if not a little bit fiddly to do whilst underwater, but they are literally just andesite stairs, or polished andesite stairs, placed around like that, so they cover the full sides of the blocks. And with the last couple of those, that is the stairs on the sides all in place. Oh, and look, we have a zombie friend to come and see us. Hello, sir. Is that a shovel you brought for me? I don't want it, thank you very much. So next on this build is yet more copper. This build is very, very, very copper intensive, which is, you know, sad news because I didn't want it to be the most expensive build in the world, but I think it's going to be that way. And with those all in place, that's the last bit of copper for the bridge, which is good because I really don't have all that much left. That's it. That's all the copper I've got left from everything I brought with me, and I brought pretty much all of copper I had. Jeez, it's going to be an expensive build. Next job is a nice easy one, and that is just putting buttons on there, and they are purely for decoration, just to make the blocks look a little bit less flat and look like they've got a little bit more going on. And the reason I've gone with stone buttons is because they look more like nails or rivets. I did try warped buttons, which go with the oxidized copper once it's oxidized, but I found they looked a little bit too woody, and these ones look better. And now those are in, it's time for the end rods. And that took no time at all. Now it's time for iron bars, which go in the middle of all these things. And now that those are done, it's time for the deep slate tile walls, which go either side of the iron bars. And that's it. That's the whole lot done. Now, on the other design, I did actually have chains in between the end rods, but to be honest with you, I don't think it looked that great, and it is a bit of a waste of iron, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. But that's it. The bridge is complete. Now, it doesn't obviously have the platform for the nether portal, which means we can't access the nether portal, so I'm going to have to do at least something there for now. But yeah, that is the bridge, 100% complete and ready to start oxidizing. Now, clearly, I need to do something about this mess here. We have path here, we have nice stairs there, and we have nice bridge here. So we're going to have to link those up, and I think that's probably going to mean demolishing my first house so that we can bring the path round there. But that's absolutely fine, because it's this house which takes us to our base. So that one's pretty much useless. But before I do anything else, I am going to measure out the circle for this thing so that we can make a platform so that people can still use the nether portal. Okay, the circle ring is now in place, and I've also done quartz blocks around the edges, which is a slight change from the original. The original did have quartz blocks, but it was smooth quartz blocks, and I've gone for chisel just to add a little bit more decoration on here. And because the smooth quartz blocks still look a little bit weird to me, they don't look actually all that smooth. So now what I'm doing is adding the walls around the edges, which is what's going to support the end rods, and then I need to put the floor in. Walls are all in. It's now time for end rods, which is going to be tricky, not having creative. Oh, jeez. Especially if I keep falling in. Okay, so adding this bit in here, I have just realised I've got a bit of a problem here. These need to be waxed because I don't want those oxidising. I want those to stay orange. But the problem is I don't actually have any honeycomb to wax them with. So I'm really hoping that somebody has got a honeycomb shop, or that I can get in touch with somebody like JCB, who I know has bees, and see if they will actually sell me any. Jessie B, not JCB. Oh my goodness me. So something I haven't actually explained yet in this series, and that is that this area here is going to be our shopping district. This area with all of the mountains and things like that. And I believe Groover Guy here already has a shop that sells vines. Mossy Vine Shack. And there's lots of vines for sale, but they're a little bit expensive. So we won't be shopping in there. Obviously, we've seen Zloy's bank and we've seen his pickaxe shop. But there are shops in here as well. And I don't know if they actually sell anything yet. Coming soon with DB's head. And we've got witch farm stuff. So I guess DB's got a witch farm as well. But yeah, no honeycomb there. Let's go and have a look around spawn because I know there's some shops up there like where I put mine. Why did you put your shop up here? Because I'm an idiot and I didn't realise we were supposed to be doing it over there. Oh. Okay, we have mending book shop thing, which I'm not too fussed about. And we have more book thing, which I'm not fussed about. And then I believe all of this is silent stuff, maybe. Oh no. What? Soylent sharp what? Yeah. Okay. So end stuff, which I don't need. And then we got more silent stuff. I'm not noticing any honeycomb though there. Honeycomb? Honeycomb. So I am going to have to try and contact Jessie B and see if she'll do me a deal. So there we go. We now have a fully finished circle with the pentagon in the middle and a bit of a goat problem as well, as it would seem this is very spawnable. I really don't understand why the goats don't just spawn on powder snow or snow, but they seem to spawn on everything. Anyway, we've got these things. We still haven't had chance to meet up with Jessie B yet. So now what I need to do is just sort out a very, very quick basic building for this portal to go in because I don't have time today to do the full tower. So at this point here, you can see it's getting quite dark. The portal will keep things relatively lit, and I've gone for an interesting looking pattern on the floor. Obviously need to do some walls around this as well, but these are all slabs, which means we can do some underwater lighting. And I say underwater lighting intentionally because everything underneath there is... Oh, I can't get out. It's underwater. So we're going to have to use some solid lighting blocks like sea lanterns or something like that. I don't need to use sea lanterns at all. I have many end rods, so we will use end rods. And there we go. I have now done a little bit of a grid pattern underneath there with some end rods, which should make the upside of this nice and light. Now, I've not bothered to go around the edges because they're all solid blocks around the edges, and there's no point in putting lights underneath solid blocks, but it will keep the slabbed area nice and light. And now I can rebuild my bridge that I had to smash to get down there. And now all I've done is added the portal into the floor, which now has 4 sides with some of that chiseled quartz behind it and a nice gap that we can run a beacon up through. So I guess I should go and probably put a beacon in. And there we go. We now have a beacon in place right in the center of this thing, which means that for today at least, my work here is done. I will continue this build. I will put the giant tower around it, but not today, because I've run out of time and I'm exhausted from playing Minecraft. I've done a lot of work today. I put a lot of hours in, so I think it's time to set myself up AFK somewhere and just go and relax. So on that note, I'd like to say thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do leave a like, and if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.